I'm going to tell you that Julia's Eyes is my absolute favourite movie of the year. I think it's brilliantly directed, the story is brilliantly told, the script is wonderful, and Belén Rueda, the actress in it, gives, I think, one of the best performances of the year. I'm absolutely delighted to welcome to FrightFest Television the director of Julia's Eyes, Guillem Morales.
Oh, nice to see you. Thank you very much for you.
Let's go right from the very beginning.
Okay.
I saw your first film,
The Uninvited Guest?
The Uninvited Guest, and from that you could see that you were very, very into the Hitchcockian side of things, like the doubles, the voyeurism, those sort of like perverse ideas. I mean, and you've actually carried it through with Julia's Eyes, or do you agree with that?
Yeah, so I'm not very conscious of it. Of course I love Hitchcock. Hitchcock is not only, one of my favorite directors. It's just, a place that you want to stay for a very long time. And I suppose that I'm very influenced by his films. But I'm not conscious, about that. And of course I can see some very similar things between The Uninvited Guest and Julia's Eyes, but I haven't got any idea, about why I'm just harping on that kind of things.
I mean, where did the idea come from? Now, you've said in a lot of interviews that I've seen that it's all about, in fact, this image.
Yeah, in fact, it was that was my first image. This image actually came up into my mind, and at this moment I didn't know about. I knew about very few things, just that woman was Julia, and Julia had been operated on her eyes, and she had to wear a bandage around her eyes, and no, the bandage should not be removed in order to keep the fruits of the operation. Otherwise, the operation will ruin. The fruits of the operation will ruin. So and this is the starting point, and then from this image you have to create the plot, the characters, and the script. And I think that it always happened this way.
I mean, how much into the blindness did you go from a research point of view? I mean, the degenerative disease that she has.
Yeah.
I mean, did you actually look into that and say,
yeah, absolutely.
It's all authentic, is it?
Yeah, it's quite. To be honest, it will be a mixture of two kinds of disease. But I looked into it really for a long time, and finally, I don't know, I made up my mind, and it worked for the story.
And what about movies about blindness themselves? I mean, you can mention Wait Until Dark is the most famous one.
Yeah,
and you've got Afraid of the Dark as well, Mark Peplow's film, and of course you've got there's so many. Blind Terror, which is a film I wanted to bring up because it used. Is that where you got the idea of actually not showing people's faces, because they used that in that movie?
As a director, I was very obsessed, with the idea that the audience would share the feeling of the main character, Julia, and even her frustration of not to see, so since the moment Julia is wearing the bandage around her eyes, I decided to hide all the faces from all the characters around her.
Did Belén need rehearsal with the bandage on? Did she insist on having some time before the film started?
No. I think there was no need, because she wasn't blind. The character was not blind. It was just losing her sight, her sight. So there was no need. She thought, and we thought, that rehearsals just were necessary in that case, because she's she's not used to wear a bandage around her eyes, and she's not blind.
What I like about the film is because, I mean, as she goes blind, the more she sees.
Absolutely
so
right.
that is the whole point of the film. Isn't it?
Exactly.
So, I mean, and that's what I think is one of the cleverest things that you actually do in the movie.
Yeah, I told her that Julia, okay, I told Belén, okay, Julia is a character that is going blind, but before going blind, she has to see the two most important things, you know, and one thing is the most beautiful thing, and the other one is the most horrific thing.
I've seen you say that it's almost a version of The Invisible Man.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
And I hadn't thought about that.
You get it.
But you're absolutely right. That's exactly what it is.
That's exactly what it is, the film. And there's a character who is invisible. It's not invisible physically, but it's invisible psychologically.
When the film first opens, you actually get a feeling that it actually could be supernatural. You could have gone, in many ways, into a supernatural area. And I like that because you didn't know which way it was going. I mean, I found it very creepy and very eerie, all that. And then, of course, as you go on through the film, you suddenly realise what actually is happening.
Yeah.
And I think that...
But you know that Sarah's not alone.
There is
the basement.
That. That's true from the very first frame. You know that.
Exactly.
But you still keep thinking, there's something very, very weird, you know, and odd going on here. And I think you keep that going all the way through. I mean, when I mentioned that I love the film to Guillermo, he said, but that's because Guillem is very perverse.
He said that, okay.
So that's what he said. So, do you see
he's
that?
not perverse, isn't he? No.
And you pull off some of the best twists in a plot that I've seen for a very long time.
Really?
I actually don't want to say anything about, but it's the you know what I mean. I mean, it's the mother. Let's leave it at that. I think that's I think that's a very, very, very good one. And I mean, I didn't see that.
Very perverse.
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't see it?
No, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, because it's very subtle and and of course that character explains a lot, you know, about the other character that I'm not going to mention.
We mustn't talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I've said in my review that it's very. I mean, I haven't seen set pieces like this for a long time. It's like going back to Brian De Palma. To me, it's like operatic in that sort of way. The way you move the camera, the way it's very, very. I don't want to say theatrical, but it's just so beautifully done. And I just thought, I mean, I hadn't seen anything like that for a very long time.
Oh,
that's one of the reasons why I loved it so much, I think.
Great. You know, I work on a storyboards, very precise storyboards, and I'm very obsessed as well in the setting and you know, and the movement of the actors on the setting, and then putting the camera you know, like another character, you know, moving like another character, and I think that it's quite important. It's quite important to draw all the film in a storyboard, and then forget it. You know, forget it, but you know that in the storyboard everything works. Having studying all the scenes, all the possibilities, and then you can put the camera in the more precise way.
I mean, I'm not going to go on about Guillermo, but I mean, did he was not the sort of person to give somebody advice when he knows they don't need it. But I mean, did he ever say anything to you apart from just encourage you? Did he give you any ideas about?
Yeah. Of course, if Guillermo produces a film, of course, you know, he gives his opinion to you, and some advices and some things that he's worried about, and because it's a very easygoing and open-minded dialogue, and even he encourages you to open some doors probably, or maybe you've never thought before, you know. And but at the same time, as a director, respects all your decisions.
Let's talk about the ending, or rather, let's talk about the ending because I don't want to give too much
Oh my God,
away.
the ending!
But it actually is one of the most emotional endings I've seen for a very long time.
Thank you very much. It wasn't my intention, was that?
And I mean, you can bet your life that if the Americans remake it, it will not have that ending on it.
Why not?
No, they'll just go for a happy ending. I know you see.
It's a happy ending.
I know you see it as a happy ending, but the Americans won't. I can tell you. I mean, but that was always your intention, because it is so moving. I think.
Yeah.
That particular, the ideas that you bring out there.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So the ending was when I think about a film, I know how it begins and how it ends, you know. So you need to work a lot in many parts of the script, but it was always the same ending, you know. And I knew it was pretty moving, you know. And for me, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful ending, and it's a happy ending. Every ending is happy.
As well as Belén, you've got Lluís Homar, of course.
Yeah.
Why did you choose him?
Oh, because Belén needed, or Julia needed, you know, the perfect husband, someone very classy.
Well, the film was like a #1 film, you know, in Spain. It's done very, very well. I hope it translates here for you as well. I mean, and I know you're going to be moving on to something that you won't talk about, but any hints at all as to what your next film could possibly be about?
I'd rather not to say anything about my new project, because it's we have just reached with Oriol as well the first draft, and now we're working on the second draft. So I think that it's too early. It's too early to say anything about it. But
will you always stay in the genre, though? Will you stay in the genre? You're not going to move to romantic comedies or anything?
No. I'm sorry, but I love genre, and I think that is if stories if you have got a very good story, if you explain that story, you know, as a thriller, in a genre, I think that is more exciting, even, you know, because you are explaining in the most exciting way. And no, I think I'm going to stuck in the genre for many time.
I want you all to go out and see Julia's Eyes, or you're dead, basically. So thank you very much, Guillem.
Really, thanks to you.
Thank you.